What's up, Butterflums? Do you want to create compelling character arcs with your players? In today's video, we'll discuss how to build dramatic characters, what makes for a good character arc in literature, and how to incorporate that knowledge as a GM and as a player in your games. Let's go! Hi friends, my name is Viad and I make videos about running tabletop role-playing games. My goal is to inspire game masters to run the best games possible. And today we're going to do that with story arcs. I would like to thank Raven Day and NorthOvers23 on Discord for suggesting this wonderful subject. I hope this video helps you create the arcs your players deserve. Before we dive in, it's important to point out that the idea of character arcs won't work with every type of player. Some players will not enjoy this aspect of the game, and we shouldn't try to make them. I came here to kill stuff! But if you have a cooperative role player that enjoys a story-driven game, story arcs will help you create a better experience for them, and therefore a better experience for you. In screenwriting, a character arc is the internal conflict that the character goes through from the beginning of a story to the end. When we consider longer literary works, a character can go through several arcs, and often the story follows more than one character. Tabletop role-playing games are similar in that aspect, but each arc happens over the course of months and requires a great deal of consideration, cooperation, and planning. When we have a whole cast of player characters, one character arc might take the lead for a short time, but we will eventually have to shift our attention to the others. The first step in creating a story arc is understanding the inner conflict of the character. What is the struggle that they are going to deal with throughout the adventure? To do that, we are going to use two terms. What does a character want, and what do they need? Oh, heads up, I'm going to include big spoilers for She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. So if you haven't watched the entire series, and you want to do so eventually, please stop watching now. Our character want is essentially their current goals, the thing they wish to achieve above all else. For tabletop characters, this is often the reason they travel. These goals motivate the character to act, so they are important to drive the plot. A rogue's greed might drive him to accept a dangerous bounty. A mage's lustful power might send them to delve in an ancient ruin. These goals are known to your character, and the obstacles in their path to achieve them are external. In She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, Catra is a very interesting character, but her initial want is quite simple.
Soon the two of us are gonna be ruling Etheria together, just like we always planned.
Is that what you really want? To rule the world?
I mean, yeah, obviously. Isn't that what you want too?
Throughout the series, this silly tabaxi climbs higher and higher within the Horde, but despite her success, she is never truly satisfied. That's because her want does not align with her need. The need is internal. It is often something the character won't realize or simply refuse to accept. It's something the character must discover about themselves or the world to become more complete, balanced, or whole. In the last season of She-Ra, we discovered Catra's need.
You saw what happened! Dora chose Shadow Weaver, okay? Not me! Dora doesn't want me! Not like I want her.
All this time, what she really needed was the love and affection of Adora, but the lies she told herself blinded her to that. A need is usually more universal and simple, something most of us can empathize with. To be accepted, to be loved, to find our place in the world. There are countless other examples, but what I'm trying to say is that you don't need to make the need complex in order to create an interesting character. Now that we have the want and the need, we essentially created our inner conflict, as K.M. Weiland, writer of Creating Character Arc, writes. The inner conflict is all about the silent war between his want and his need, but it's also the gasoline in the engine of the outer conflict. If you have these two elements working in concert, you can bet you'll also have plot and character well on their way to perfect harmony as well. With that, we can now start discussing character arcs. To understand how to create a compelling arc, we first need to understand how it is built. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into the narrative theory, even though it is fascinating, but I will, however, explain everything you need to know in order to pull off a positive change arc in your game. Positive change arc is probably the most common arc we encounter in tabletop role-playing games. If you are interested in other kinds of story arcs, I suggest you check out the miniseries by Tyler Moweri. That series inspired a lot of what you see in this video, so if you enjoy this one, I have no doubt you will enjoy Tyler's work. I will include a link for it in the description as well. A positive change arc often looks like this. The character believes a lie, the character encounters the truth, and then the character overcomes the lie and accepts the truth. If we go back to Catra's example, she had several character arcs throughout the series. One of her positive character arcs starts with this line.
Catra, what are you doing?
You know, it all makes sense now. You've always been the one holding me back. You wanted me to think I needed you. You wanted me to feel weak. I wonder what I could have been if I'd gotten rid of you sooner.
But even after rising up higher than she ever was within the ranks of the Horde, the memories resurfaced.
I'm always gonna be your friend.
This truth finally hit her. She cared about Adora, and that pushed her to make a choice that had cost her everything she worked for.
Adora! I'm sorry! For everything! Catra!
This is an example of a positive change arc. Now, it's important to note that even after this arc, Catra is still far from being perfect, and she will go through a lot more before this is all done. But now she is more balanced. Positive arcs take our characters a step further in understanding their need, and eventually pursuing it. Now that we've covered the structure of a positive change arc, we can incorporate it in our game. The only way to pull something like that off as a GM though is to collaborate with the player. Even if we understand the character's inner conflict and know what lies they believe, we will not be able to overcome the lie for them. The choice and the change that follows has to come from the player. Players, on the other hand, can create arcs on their own by establishing a lie and looking for opportunities within the game to expose it, unravel a certain truth, and embrace it. This is often more complicated and doesn't always work out. So if we want to be certain our arc is fulfilled, we have to work together. So assuming the player is on board, we'll start by asking them to establish their character's want and need. If they didn't think about it yet, we can work together to figure it out. Going over the character's backstory is a great place to start. Here are a few questions that can get you up and running. Why is your character adventuring? What are they after? Why does your character want that? What do they believe that achieving it will solve? Answering these questions can help us realize their want and the lie they believe in, but their need has to be different if you want a dramatic character and a positive change arc. The best question I can offer to help the player realize their character's need is perhaps the most direct one. What will truly make the character feel fulfilled? Whatever the answer, it should be something the character doesn't realize at the beginning. This method intentionally creates a knowledge gap between the player and their character, and as the campaign progresses, each character arc takes the character a step closer in aligning their want with their need. You know, I think this is actually the best example I have for good metagaming, but that's besides the point. Knowing the lie and the need of a player character gives the GM insight into the character's reasoning. We can use it to create a more compelling and cathartic story over time. We can gently nudge them towards their need throughout the campaign, and intentionally create opportunities for them to expose their lie. Let's take Catra's example again. If we didn't know her lie or need as GMs, we would simply create story arcs that promote her in the ranks of the Horde, because that is her goal. She would fight nameless rebels and slowly conquer the world, perhaps never realizing what she truly needs. But if we know her need, we can use it. We will not only promote her within the Horde, but create scenarios that will put her toe-to-toe with Adora, nudging her towards her unrealized need and forcing her to face her lie. When a character arc is complete with the character accepting a truth, the player can choose a new lie that redefines their want for the next arc. I hope you find this useful. It's certainly a subject I am passionate about, and I would love to hear about your character arcs in the comments. What were lies your character believed in? How did they realize the truth? If you want to check out some of the other videos I've mentioned, you will find them in the description below. Here on the screen are a few more videos that the great algorithm of YouTube believes you will enjoy. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like and subscribe buttons with your mage hand. And remember that you are awesome, keep being awesome, and I'll see you beyond the screen.